these should help the audio quality of these videos. I've been recording basically in this room for the last like 5 or so years, and while the audio quality I don't think is too bad, hopefully these acoustic panels from Streamplify should help solve one of the biggest problems that I've had in filming in this room, which is the echo and reverberation that comes from, well, basically large flat walls directly away from where I'm filming, and so that creates a bit of an echo. I've actually had a number of different audio setups over the years, or at least tried to use them, but I've almost always stuck with the lavalier mic and the Zoom H1 recorder that I've had in my pocket basically for the last 5 years. One of the ones is a Rode NTG4 Plus microphone that's just off of camera, and a Zoom H5 recorder. But sadly, the audio quality from that just isn't that great. There's a lot of echo and reverberation, which hopefully you're hearing now, and so hopefully these panels can help tame that down. So these are the Streamplify acoustic panels, and they actually have a couple of different features that you might not find on pretty much any other acoustic panel, which is a surprising thing to say about acoustic panels. The main thing for me is that inside this box is 9 acoustic panels, which aren't all that big actually, and they're actually ridiculously thin, but they also have a box, and I'll show you in a second, of desk clamps and little sort of adapter pieces to link them together. Now, the desk clamps aren't something that I need, but basically the idea is that instead of trying to soundproof your entire room, if you just want a bit more peace and quiet at your desk, or probably more likely if you're trying to say have a little voice recording booth or a singing booth, whatever, and you want good audio quality from that, instead of having to soundproof the entire room, why not just surround your desk with it and, you're off to the races. That's what these can allow you to do. They also have little tabs that hold the panels together on the top and the bottom, and that's what I'm going to be using here. While they do include a whole load of 3M tape, likely thanks to the fairly hefty nature of these actually relatively thin and high density panels, you can also just have them clipped together. And for my case, because I'm in a rented property, I'd rather not stick them to the wall sort of semi-permanently. While you can remove the adhesive somewhat easily, I'd rather not take the risk, and so I want to be able to basically just clip them together and place them wherever in the room ends up making the most benefit. And so hopefully that's something that I can do with these. So these are the panels. They are 12mm thick, which definitely makes them actually on the rather thin side. They're also rectangular, and what you might notice is these sort of stripes down the middle. These are both aesthetic, but also give you a bit of flex, and more importantly, they're essentially cut lines. So if you want to trim them to the size of your desk, you can trim them off pretty easily with lots of different sizes, so you can trim off pretty much exactly how much you need. And you can also rearrange them in a rather laborious and time-consuming, I presume, pattern like their sort of promo photos, and make a pretty cool aesthetic out of them, even just from essentially rectangular sheets. So these are high-density material, which is pretty good for absorbing sound waves, but it is worth noting that in something like Elgato's sound panel or acoustic panel offerings, you actually get a dual density. You get a low density foam on top and then a higher density on the bottom, which obviously this doesn't offer. Although it is worth noting that this is a good bit cheaper than Elgato's offering, so do with that as you will. So these little things here are the clips that I was talking about. You can adjust them to anywhere between sort of 180 and 90 degree angles, and then the panels basically just slide into them so that you can hold them in place. And then, in this case, you would have another panel just next to it, or you can do it, the sideways, that kind of thing. And you can have them in any orientation, and you have a lot of clips in here to be able to do all of these panels on the top and on the bottom. You also get a lot of desk clamps, which you do need to do a bit of assembly. So they do have a thread in the top, so you have to take the thread out of this and then screw them in that way, but it does still work decently well. After having just set up one of the desk clamps, a little bit of feedback for Streamplify, this process is a bit less than ideal. You do need a flathead screwdriver to be able to tighten these in, because you take the nut that's inside the housing out, swap the screw that's inside them around, and then you have, your clamp, and you can adjust it, whatever. It's a little bit of a cumbersome process. I would like to see at very least a longer screw so that you can still, just screw it in. But either way, you do have that option, and you have a lot of clamps in the box. I think 9. Which means 1 for every single panel, which seems a bit overkill, but you've got the option. So you've seen the panels and the desk clips and the sort of adapter brackets. Let me get these set up and we'll do a before and after so that you can see the sound quality difference. So this is what the sort of standard audio from all of the videos that you've heard of the last 5 or so years that I've been in here and filming have sounded like. Over that time, I have changed things like the specific microphone I'm using, and some of the settings that I use in Premiere to tweak it to make it sound a little bit better, but generally, this is what you've been hearing. Also, for some context, here is what it sounds like with the Rode NTG4 Plus mic that I've had for a long time, but haven't been using because it just sounds kind of awful in here. Hopefully, this is a good sort of before, and then we can get these set up and see how it sounds after. And this is what it sounds like with the acoustic panels up. I'm using my lavalier mic right now, so this is what it would normally sound like, although I will want to give the NTG4 Plus a try to see how that sounds as well. The panels themselves were pretty easy to get set up. The clips basically just push on. I ended up having them in a sort of 3x3 configuration, in the sense that there are 3 sets of 3 panels, all vertically arranged on the wall, basically behind the camera. The camera is basically attached to the wall at this point. You only have maybe 30 centimeters behind you before you're at a wall. And so because I'm talking, straight to the camera and therefore talking at a big blank wall, hopefully that will do something to dampen those reflections. Now here is what it sounds like with the NTG4 Plus mic. Again, hopefully that is a better quality with a little less echoes. Although of course the fact that I haven't plastered every single space on the wall with these panels likely means that there's still a little bit of an echo, and I think I can still hear it. So let me know what you think of the different mic quality in the description down below, both from the NTG4 and from my standard lav mic, and which you would prefer to hear in videos going forward. If you're interested in these acoustic panels, I'll leave a link to them in the description down below. Of course, the fact that they're quite versatile, they can be stuck to the walls, you can also cut them up to shape them to size, or you can mount them to your desk, is definitely a nice touch and not something that I've seen overly commonly before. Other than that, that is pretty much it for this video. Like I said, I would love to hear your thoughts on the mics and the quality in the description. Also, if you want to see more videos like this one, perhaps with one of these 2 mics and these new sound panels, hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell notification icon. There are plenty of other more standard tech reviews on the channel that you can check out. Feel free to do so on the end cards. If you want to support these videos, you can do so through YouTube, Patreon, pick up a hoodie or t-shirt like this one, or a load of ones I designed myself, or you can pick up an open source response time tool at osrtt.com. There's also a load of other links in the description you can check out if you're interested. And otherwise, that's kind of it. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed it, we'll see you on the next video.